Hope for the best.
Awesome. We are officially live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chiropractic Compass podcast brought to you by the legendary Chiropractor online community. We are sitting down with our lovely, lovely guests today from the People's Republic of New Jersey, Dr. Stuart and Dr. Theresa Warner out in New Jersey. They are both chiropractors and they run a massive pediatric chiropractic practice. And I'm so excited to dive in deeper with them about their student experience, their successes in life, some of their challenges that they've faced building a successful pediatric practice. And they grew up and went to school with all of the legends that we follow and stand on the shoulders of today. And so I want to really encourage people to ask questions, engage with us. And without further ado, guys, I would love to give you the floor. Talk a little bit about yourselves and how you got into chiropractic.
Yes, well, definitely something we enjoy talking about. I incidentally received my first adjustment when I was 18 by a relative, and then one thing led to the next, and I changed my major in business in college, from business in college to science, and then started at Life University, which was Life Chiropractic College at the time. And right before we started, I heard Dr. Sid Williams speak at DE, and I saw him drop the keys and, shared a big idea, and that instilled all of my passion and, purpose to want to be the best chiropractor that I could.
Absolutely. Dr. Terry?
Yeah, I got involved in chiropractic at a young age. We had moved in next door when I was just a few years old to a husband and wife who had both chiropractors, and really, to me, they're chiropractic legends. They had a really old school practice, started out with the black box on the wall practice, and then, advanced and changed through the years. And they were just an amazing couple. And so I grew up in their office. It was a home office with their two kids, and had originally grown up kind of as, one of those kids that we typically see in our office, from birth, reacting to different things, and growing up and having asthma. And my parents were only familiar with the typical medical experience that our patients are. And then here we, as God would have it, put us in right next door to a husband and wife who were a really good principled chiropractors, taught us about chiropractic philosophy and what it's all about. And so I grew up to be a chiropractor. My sister grew up to be a chiropractor. So both of us were influenced, and it was, really amazing. So that was our start, and I knew from an early age then that I'd want to help other kids, just like I got helped.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's so important, and I love hearing people's different chiropractic stories, how they got into chiropractic, what really drew them to it, or rather what drew chiropractic or towards them to chiropractic. There it is. But I want to encourage everybody watching right now to please head to thelegendarychiropractor.com whenever you get a chance to check out everything chiropractic that we have to offer. So real quick, we're going to bullet list the topics that we're going to discuss today, and then we are going to get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation, which I know you guys have mind-boggling statistics on the health of kids today. But I want to start with the transition from student to doctor, and then we'll go into successful pediatric practice, and then we'll go into that state of health of our children today. And I think it's really important that we start at the student, right? Because I'm there. I'm a 12th quarter student. I'm about to graduate, and it's like I have to figure out, I do want to go into the pediatric realm, but I have to figure out the best ways to communicate and what I should be doing now or what I should have done prior to graduating, right? And so I want to encourage both of you to share your experiences through school. How were you able to be successful during school so that it set you up for success after?
We loved our student experience. I guess you could say we sucked all the bone marrow that you could out of the entire time that we were there, and made the most of it. And, we speak to students on chiropractic campuses all over the world. We've been to Europe, South Pacific, all throughout North America. And, it's great to be able to see students that really want to come out and make a difference out there. And, I share with them in the beginning something that seems a little startling at first, and to get their attention. And because it's true that, chiropractors within the first year or two of practice are going out of business at all-time levels. I mean, ever since I can remember. And, many of them were good chiropractors as far as, good people, and they wanted to be successful. And, they failed. And, many chiropractor students, invested a lot of time and resources to be there. And now they're, selling computers, or, working at Home Depot, putting in floors, and, teaching and doing all the other sorts of things. And, if that was their passion and they wanted to pursue that, it was great, but they wanted to be a chiropractor, and they failed. And they blame everything in the environment you can think of. There's too much media bias, or the medical doctors are against us, or the people in my community just don't get it, or it's the insurance companies. And, so that's what's responsible for their failure. Yet under the same circumstances, in the same communities, in the same conditions, there are chiropractors that are thriving and having their best years ever. And, they could put their shingle out and do great. And that's because it's not the external environment, it's the internal environment. So what was, your philosophy and mindset and your confidence and, your skill level when you go out there, and your willingness to communicate to the world. So, so it's really important that you take your student time seriously, because many students are like, I'll just get through school and then I'll really, learn what I need to once I'm out there. And it's too late, because, you want to be ready as a student so you can hit the ground running. And there doesn't need to be a starvation period or a struggling period when you start. You can start day one with a waiting list of patients to see you and be a leader in your community. So, it really starts with your student experience. And, one of the most important things is surround yourself with like-minded individuals that love chiropractic, that want to, that have passion, that want to learn everything they can. I mean, I remember, my first quarter in school, we used to go out a lot on the weekends, and my friends were terrific. They were really great guys. And, but, after
Life at the party.
After a quarter, I was like, really got into chiropractic, and I wanted to go to, all the seminars on the weekend. So, I stopped going out, like I did the previous, quarter. And, we went to, if there's an 11-week quarter system at school, like 10 of them, we were at chiropractic seminars and chiropractic philosophy weekends. And if we, the only time we missed a chiropractic event was when we were at another chiropractic event. So, and then, I got to the point where I looked at my friends who were not going to any seminars or weren't that involved, and they thought they knew it all. And here I was going to everything and thought, wow, I mean, there's so much more I need to know.
Absolutely. Before we get into your experience, Dr. Terry, I want to touch on something that Dr. Stu said real quick, and that was it's the internal environment, not the external environment. And I love that you said that, because a lot of chiropractors, we even as chiropractic students, we love to play the blame game, right? It's the school's fault. It's the professor's fault. It's the community's fault. If you're a chiropractor, it's the people aren't interested, all that stuff. We love to play the blame game, and that internal environment in between the subluxation between your ears a lot of times is what we need to fix prior to going out and serving our communities and prior to actually graduating. And what you're talking about, going to seminars and getting involved in chiropractic before or while you're in chiropractic school, is so critical to your success day one in your office. So Dr. Terry, share your experience. I know it's somewhat similar, but share it with us and get into any details that you'd like, because I love to hear from both of you. You guys are wise chiropractors and legends in pediatric chiropractic. So I'm really excited to hear what you got to say.
Well, I'm honored and humbled by that. And it also kind of makes me feel like been out there a long time at this point. I don't know I feel like it's not long ago that I was a student, but here my daughter is like picking out colleges. So that's it, but we hold those times near and dear to our heart, and that's why I keep telling them, like, you have to be a chiropractor. There's just nothing else you can be. Once it's touched your heart, there's just nothing else you can be. And it's the old question of, did you choose chiropractic or did chiropractic choose you? And I feel like we were all chosen. And we were chosen to be there and chosen to do what we do for a purpose, and to deliver that to this gift to other people and be able to empower them in their health and in their healthcare decisions. And for us, that does start with the kids. It starts with educating parents and allowing, through the adjustment, their bodies to flourish and to be better. And later we will get into the stats of what's going on today. But you guys need to, for any of the students out there, maximize your student experience. Get involved as much as you can. That's what it really was all about for us. And Stu said, that gave his experience, and mine does parallel it. We actually did meet in school, so probably that's why. But we, got involved in as many possible situations in chiropractic as possible. And that meant going to tons and tons of seminars, whatever it was. We went, whether it's technique, philosophy, science, all those, you just soak it up and absorb it. This is the time. Once you're out in practice, you have to start a business. You have to be thinking about that, making money, paying bills, doing all these other things. Now's the time. Don't miss this opportunity to be able to learn and grow and just nurture that, so that you can, once you hang that shingle out, you can maximize your practice experience. But it starts now. Also visit chiropractic offices. We used to pick out around our college, and then when we do road trips around, the massive areas, who are the chiropractors that we want to visit, and seek out to go to their practice, follow them around, ask permission to watch them with their patients, take notes, listen to how they communicate with their patients. What are they saying to them? What's their table talk? How's the staff working? How's the flow in the office? All those things are important, because you're going to be designing your practice in your office, and you're going to see things that you say, this is what I definitely want to do, or this is what maybe I don't want to do. And they are equally as important. Not everyone's going to have the same kind of office that you want. Seek to pick out people that do, but also, open yourself up to all these different experiences, because that's going to mold and shape your future and what you end up doing. And so we used to go and watch people's health talks and watch them, take notes on them, record them, so that you could do that. And then if you had the opportunity, at our school, we could back then do health talks to the incoming outpatients. And so you get up and you give the orientation for them. Teach chiropractic. Once you start teaching something, you own it. Mm-hmm. So become involved in the clubs at school. We became really involved in many clubs while we were at school. Depending on the school that you go to, your experience may be a little bit different, but open it up to as many technique clubs or philosophy clubs, whatever you have, so that you can broaden your scope and just learn and soak in like a sponge as much as you possibly can. That's going to just enhance everything that you do. And again, some of it you're going to really cling on to, and that this is right for me. But especially in the beginning of your student days, just open yourself up to going to and being involved with as many things as possible. So what we want to, also keep in mind, Stu was talking about his buddies. He had a really fantastic group of friends at school. We both did, and they were really fun guys. But you become a byproduct of your 5 best friends. I really try to instill that in my kids as well, that it's who you hang around with that's going to determine. So you need to look, what do I want to be like? Mm-hmm. Who do I want to associate with? And then seek out people that are like that and build upon it, so that you can then know, okay, this is somebody that we can go visit a practice together. We can brainstorm and map out our, futures together. That's really, really helpful for figuring out what you want to do. Back in school, we became really involved in technique clubs. And that was awesome because you get to deliver adjustments. My sister was ahead of me in school, and so she was actually graduating in 14th quarter, which was, we had a 14-quarter system when we were back at Life, and I was in first quarter, so I was just starting out. And she ended up staying down there in school not in school, working down there a couple extra years. And so we lived together for my student experience, which was great. And I actually gave her the first adjustment I ever gave was to my sis. And it was in second quarter. Don't tell anyone. I may not have been licensed yet, but it was awesome because she was here. We had just learned all the anatomy, and you're really involved in that. And she could teach me, here's exactly what you want to do. Here's how you want to set up. Here's what we want to. And so you need to start somewhere. And getting involved right from the beginning is the great way to start. We became officers in clubs. We became certified in multiple techniques. Down at Life, before I graduated, I started the pediatrics club back then and got involved in the ICA, became president of the ICA, made that the largest chapter in the world and grew it to over 2,000 members and came up with all kinds of techniques and strategies with that. Brought in the best of the best speakers and got to be with them firsthand, shaking hands and breaking bread, eating and drinking and having fun with them. Legends like Dr. Fred Barge. I mean, you don't have these opportunities any other way. You create and make those opportunities. Hanging out with Dr. Sid Williams. It's awesome to be able to have that. And these are the things that you get to have fun with now and create as a student. So I don't want to say don't mess it up. That sounds so bad. I just started to say that. Don't miss the opportunity is what I should say. Create the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what you mentioned is so important. And people see us, lecturing on all the biggest programs around the world. They see us on national TV shows like The Doctors talking about chiropractic in kids, and, chiropractors fly in from all over the world to train in our office, and people, see all that. But, it really all started as students and maximizing our experience. And, we're really proud to say that, Dr. Sid once said to us that Terry and Stu were his two finest graduates that came out. And, only really because, 90% of success is just showing up. We were there, we participated, we got to know everyone. Like, we used to go to DE 4 times a year as students, and, we just wouldn't go to DE. We would be there from Thursday at 3 till Sunday at noon and not miss one speaker our entire time in school and many years out, until we became team speakers there. We used to go to assemblies, and Dr. Sid used to speak at them all the time. And, our fellow students would try to get out of assemblies so they wouldn't have to go. And I'd be going to extra ones because I just wanted to, be in the energy and keep learning and growing. And then, when it came time to student clinic, we needed our 100 visits to meet our criteria. And, being president of the Motion Palpation Club, which was the largest, chiropractic technique club in the world at the time, we had 400 students that would come, 8 hours a week to, all the different workshops and training. And, so I finished my 100 visits in 4 weeks, and Terry finished hers in 3 weeks. And then outpatient clinic, we took that very seriously as our own practice, as this is our practice. We're going to be adjusting and serving patients. And I finished my 250 visits in 3 quarters, but I kept seeing patients until graduation. I was voted to become clinician of the year. It was the first time they gave out this award. And how it came about, and I'm bringing this up for a reason, because they were the faculty nominated the candidates for the Clinician of the Year. So it was mostly all the senior interns, the SIs and the club presidents. So there were 8 of us. And then the student body voted on it, 2,000 students. And I found out I had double the votes than all the other 7 candidates combined. And, it wasn't because I was better than any of them, but because, people just recognized that we showed up and we went and participated. We were everywhere at all the philosophy nights and the seminars and visiting the offices. And, Terry was that student that between classes would be going into all the classrooms, making announcements, saying, you got to come to this program, you got to come to that program. And,
the annoying, super excited one jumping up and down.
If she didn't look the way she does, it would have been very,
it would have
been very annoying to hear this. She was just always encouraging everyone to get involved and be part of everything. So, we had pediatric practices on campus that was unheard of at the time. And then, so we graduated knowing that we wanted to start a pediatric practice. And, the culture at the time in our profession in the early 90s was, everyone saw kids in the context of a family practice. And, no one identified themselves as a pediatric chiropractor. There was only a handful of pediatric instructors or teachers out there. And they would say things from the platform such as, you do these things, sometimes the child could become the first patient in the family, or my practice was 1/3 or 33% kids. Well, we got out and said, why couldn't we put the kids first in chiropractic and position our practice so the child is the first patient in the family to receive care? So this was revolutionary at the time to just start a pediatric practice. And Dr. Larry Webster, who really had the big vision, who was known as the grandfather of chiropractic pediatrics and founder of the Webster technique, he was one of our teachers at school and, became a friend, and he was, very inspiring to us. So, within 2 years of being in practice and, attracting the child and having 90% of our practice under the age of 10 and getting out in the community and making a big impact there, educating the community. He asked us to speak on the ICPA extravaganza. So our first speaking engagement, 2 years out of school, was on the stage with people like Chris Ken and Joe Felicia and Dick Plummer and just so many luminaries. And then everyone started saying, well, how do we do what you're doing? And then, it just all started to blossom from there. So, it was just about showing up. And I'll give one, example of that. There were so many different technique clubs at school, and, we went to a lot of them, got certified in Thompson and, through the Thompson Club, but also through Clay Thompson himself. And we would go to Gonstead and SOT and upper cervical. But motion palpation is what really resonated with me. So I'd be there all 8 hours a week and trying to learn. And then in fifth quarter, I took the certification and I got certified. And, all of the upper quarter officers of the club, the president and the vice president, the instructors, they were like, just, legendary to us because they were so confident and such great adjusters, and they knew the science and the philosophy. And so I was really taken back when they said you should run for becoming a sergeant of arms. Here I was, I just got certified, and then I became sergeant of arms and started teaching the next day. And, when you teach, you learn very quickly what you don't know, and you start filling in the gaps and you start elevating yourselves. And then, one thing led to the next, and I was president of the club. And but it started just by showing up, and then somebody thought I could do more. And, it's like, that's how, most people become leaders. They get tapped on the shoulder and step up. So, so we maximized everything we could as students. And, that's what I would inspire, because, I heard a graduation commencement speaker say once, during the commencement speech, he said to the audience, everyone that is an A student, raise your hand. So all the students raised their hand. He could now put them down. Then he asked, all C students, raise your hand. And then all the C students raised their hand. He said, keep your hands up. And he said to all the A students, look around, because that's who you're going to be working for. Right? So it's important to get good grades. But, I missed a lot of classes because I was taking care of patients in outpatient clinic. And, that's really what I was passionate about. So I really got an A++ in chiropractic philosophy, science, art, in communication, because I wanted to be the best I could be, and my grades weren't as good as everyone else's. So, but get the good grades, but do not sacrifice really what's important, and that's learning chiropractic. And life had a great, curriculum and teachers to help us along the way. But really, most of it is still learned outside the classroom, and most of the chiropractic colleges really get very little. So they really have to seek it out. And so many chiropractors, really struggle and fail, and they don't have satisfaction, limiting their practice to pain out there and, struggling. And, it takes them a while to find a mentor and get inspired and get the big ideas. So you don't have to wait. Just get it in school. While you're in school, read the green books. Go on the internet, listen to the videos, go places, hang out with everyone, and you won't have any problem being a success out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love everything that you guys said, because everything, like your student experience means so much to early on students, to current students, to students like myself who are going to graduate. And so it's really, really important that I recap this for people. And the top 3 things that I came up with of what you guys said that kind of just generalizes everything that you guys went through was, you have to shadow doctors. You have to put yourself out there. You have to start talking to people. You have to see, like Dr. Terry said, what you love and what you really don't love, because you learn very quickly of what your practice is going to look like and what you want that practice to look like. So that was really cool. So shadow doctors. And then number 2 was become involved. Get involved. You have to put yourself out there, again, not necessarily to shadow doctors, but get involved in clubs, get involved in seminars, get involved in conferences, whatever it might be, whatever you're passionate about. Get involved in that. And then the third thing that I wrote down was create the opportunities. I like that you guys said that. You have to, if you put yourself out there and you become involved, you open up these doors to limitless opportunities. And I really think that's important. And like you said, when you start teaching things and people tap you on the shoulder and you become this leader overnight, it's like you learn a lot about what you don't know, but you're able to step into that and actually embrace it and learn and pick things up and say, oh, okay, it's not either that hard or I can do this, right? Like, I didn't know I could do it before, but now I know that I can do this. And then people will look up to you. So it's a full cycle when it comes to leadership. So I really enjoyed that you said that. And then the one thing that you guys said, the one word that you said that I'm going to use to transition into our next topic here is the word empowerment. So how do we use empowerment to create the most successful pediatric practice that we can, like you guys have done already?
I think that you'd use that on multiple levels. So your personal empowerment, learning and growing and feeling as confident as possible when you go to open your door is so important. And that comes from within. And that comes starting with that student experience and getting yourself prepped and ready. It's like training for a marathon, so that when you're at the starting line, you're ready to go. Mm-hmm. And that also then transcends into how we're going to, in practice, every day, keep empowering our patients. With every patient, every mom, every dad that walks in, how we're going to communicate with them and be able to give them increased knowledge and feel empowered. Because one of the things that's really stripped away and taken from people today is that feeling of control, fundamentally really of their own body. When you have the difference between an inside out philosophy and an outside in philosophy, we're all about above, down, inside out, right? The whole ADIO principle, so that we know health comes from within. You have that within yourself. I teach all of my little patients that you're the doctor. The doctor's within you. You have everything within you to turn the power on, to heal, to grow, to be the best that you can be. But what are they told from every pharmaceutical company, from every commercial that they hear each and every day? How many times a day? It's all from the outside in. Mm-hmm. You have no control. You get sick, you're a victim. You don't have anything. You now have to turn to someone else or something else for healing. They lose their freedom. They feel unempowered, uninspired, and lacking. We need to come from the completely other approach, but that starts with you, doc, or doctors. That starts because the doctor is within you. You are empowered, and now we're passing that along to our patients. Stu will do a healthcare class. We used to joke because he'd get up and be going, or I will, and we'll be teaching. And sometimes patients walk away. It's like going over an x-ray with a patient. They don't know if it's a lumbar or a cervical. They don't know if it's upside down, inside out. They may not hear every word that you're saying in a healthcare class, but you know what they will get? Your passion. They will feel your empowerment. They will know that the answer that they were lacking can be found in your office. They will want this. You will become a beacon of light for them. And people are searching for the light. They're feeling so disempowered these days. And the issue of freedom is huge. Our freedoms are being taken away from us, and they just don't feel they're stripped down so that a poor family goes to go on vacation. Besides on their checklist, right? My mom used to write down, okay, do you have, enough shirts and pants and this and that? Do we bring the pillows or blankets or whatever we needed, right? What's on the list today? Did you pack your meds? Do we have an emergency case? Do you have antibiotics with you? It's all kinds of medication. Do we have, the inhalers and all the different things you need? That disempowers people. To give them by allowing them to understand, by freeing up their nervous system, by turning the power on from within and having them understand that's where it all comes from. It gives them one word, and that's freedom. The freedom to not have to worry about all those things, to empower their family to greater health, greater wealth, greater wellness. And it's just an amazing thing to be able to do. We were given a gift, and we can't we can't hide that. We can't be selfish with that. We need to pass that along to as many people as we can.
Yeah.
The old, what's the curse the darkness and light a candle? When you light someone else's candle, you both glow more brightly. We need to light as many as possible. And that's with every adjustment, with every message that you share. Every time you're on an elevator and start a conversation, or in a Walgreens and look what some mom's got in her hands and make a comment, these conversations can be life-changing. It shouldn't be an embarrassment. It should be an uplifting experience, because now you're giving them the gift of that empowerment.
Yes, absolutely. And I love what you said, because you have to be empowered, right? And you get that throughout school. So all of you soon to be graduates, like, you can empower yourself while you're going throughout school. You can light yourself on fire by going to these different chiropractic events, getting involved, creating these opportunities for yourself. And then your patients have to be empowered. So if you're not empowered, your patients aren't going to be empowered. And your patients have to be empowered. And that both empowerments, you and your patients, comes from the chiropractic philosophy. And I really like that you touched on that, because it's so critical to understand that that's where it stems from, right? It's that above, down, inside out philosophy, that the healing does happen within. Everybody has the capability of doing so if the interference is able to be removed. And that is where the chiropractor can step in. And so I love that you said that. And then the chiropractic philosophy, right, empowers us, and we stand on the shoulders of it. And then that leads to your patient's freedom, right? That leads to your freedom as well, right? I mean, in all aspects of life, either for you or your patients. And that is so important. And like you said, you become a beacon of light to that patient, and you also become a beacon of light to that community. You light that community up, because now they know that they have a trustworthy doctor to go to, communicate with, share their feelings, emotions, or whatever with them, and get adjusted. And they know that if they go there, they will leave a better person than when they came in, right? And that is what empowerment is. And I think that's so important. So, Dr. Stu, do you have anything to add about running a successful pediatric practice?
Well, it starts with your mindset. And, you really have to recognize the devastating effects of vertebral subluxation on a child's health and well-being. That subluxation that might occur in utero or in the birth process is going to create nerve interference that can compromise that baby's ability to be well for the rest of their lives. And we've seen all the statistics. What we can share with you as well, what those are. But you have to have a burning desire to want to help these kids. You want to see yourself as being responsible for the health of your community. Whatever community you go into, you want to take ownership of it and say, you know what, I'm going to elevate the health of this community. I want to teach them the principles of above, down, inside out, that healing occurs from within, that subluxation will interfere with the nervous system and it cause the body to be weaker and not to be able to adapt properly to the environment. So if you have that burning desire and you're able to communicate to the parents with passion, and passion's not a bad word. We take care of a lot of esteemed medical doctors in our practice. We take care of surgeons, pediatricians, obstetricians, cardiologists. They bring their own children to us. They refer kids to us. And, in 27 years of practice, not one time has any patient, we've had 10,000 patients, so not one medical doctor has ever said, show me the research. They never said, what were your grades? What are you certified in? That never happened once. What they do is they come in, they look in your eyes, and they want to know, can you help them? Mm-hmm. So that you have to have the confidence. And, if you're brand new in practice and if you didn't maximize your student experience and you don't have a reserve of money in the bank in a full practice, it's not always easy to say and do the right things. But, it's very important to have that be, do, have philosophy. You already know more than they do when they walk in. So be that chiropractor. As Dr. Barge would say, be the chiropractor or chiropractor. And, so you relay that confidence. Tell the truth. Do not water it down. Like, for instance, we had a pediatrician that brought her 5-year-old triplets in to see us. She drove over an hour each way to come see us, and the kids had ear infections, they had asthma, they had some other issues going on, and, we were relatively new in practice, a couple of years, I think, and, I'm sitting across from her in a report of findings, and I said to her, I'm recommending that your children come in 3 times a week for 4 weeks, and this is what it's going to cost. And she said, I can't get here 3 times a week. It's an hour each way, and my insurance doesn't cover. So many chiropractors that are weak would say, well, okay, can you come in once a week? And you know what, we'll work something out. And, you're going to be creating a practice on poor quality patients that don't respect your viewpoint and what you're doing. So I said to her, I wish I could wave a magic wand and just do one visit, but if you're only able to make a third of the visits, you may only get a third of the results, and I don't want you to waste your time or resources. This might not be the best time for you to start. And immediately she said, no, we'll be here 3 times a week. See, when the patients say they can't come or they can't afford it, 9 out of 10 times they're not saying that. What they're saying is, you haven't given me enough reasons why I should do this and why I should value it and why it's so important. So you want to make sure you tell the full truth. And you know what? The patients will be smart enough to decide most of the time, but don't water it down and don't compromise. And, when you also recognize the impact that you have on families' lives and the transformations you see and the miracles you see, there's tremendous value there. You don't want to water it down. There's a big issue in our profession with chiropractors taking care of kids for free. And, the parents are under care, the kids come for free, or free Saturdays or free Teenage Tuesdays, whatever. And none of those chiropractors are seeing many kids. They're seeing less than 10% kids. they might have a heart for kids or a passion. And, they say, well, if I remove the fee, then, I'll see more kids. But it's, in fact, the exact opposite. And if the fee was the barrier and you removed it, there should be a line of kids out your door. There'd be a waiting list. But the quickest way to quadruple the number of kids you're seeing is to charge an appropriate fee, to be able to have them value it and respect it. In fact, the more you charge, the more kids you'll be seeing in your practice. And when you look at all the pillars in your community, all the important people in your town, all the leaders, we feel the chiropractor should be the most important pillar in their community. They should be the leader. Who else can have the impact on families' lives more than the chiropractor? Who can see these miracles occur and see these transformations? Putting your hands on a child's spine and helping them help remove that nerve interference to allow that child to reach their optimum genetic potential on every level of their experience. What is that worth? So chiropractors need to elevate themselves to be that go-to kids health authority in their town, because they deserve that respect and that credibility, because no one can do what you can do. When we look at the state of health of our children, we're witnessing the sickest generation of kids in the history of the world right now. Every childhood illness has skyrocketed. When Terry and I grew up, 12% of kids had a chronic illness. Today, 54% are chronically ill. That's more than 1 out of 2 kids that are sick and on drugs and leading mediocre existences. And these are children that we're not just putting a label on. They're missing school. They can't go out and play sports during certain seasons. And their parents are missing work and losing wages because they're taking care of sick kids. And one of the top causes of divorce and bankruptcy is health issues. It's devastating our families. Each of you listening to this are the solution. You are the one with the answers. And we need you, because look at these statistics. Asthma's doubled in the last 10 years. It's up over 400%. Allergies are rampant and out of control. 10% of kids are diagnosed with ADHD. 16 million visits are made to doctors for ear infections every year. Depending on what statistics you look at, 1 in 35 to 1 in 45 kids are diagnosed with autism. The CDC announced last year in New Jersey, 1 in 22 boys are diagnosed with autism. Colic is on the rise, reflux, diabetes. 1 in 6 children are learning disabled, according to our government. Why are our kids getting sicker and sicker as every year goes by? You see, childhood illness has become the new black. It's the new normal. Parents come in for their consultations. They share with us about their challenges their children have. And many of them don't even know there's opportunities for good health and well-being, because all their friends' kids are sick and on drugs. And, God designed our children to be healthy. We were born to be healthy as long as you have a nervous system free of interference and you don't put chemicals in the body and you support it with extended breastfeeding and all the things that we know how to do as chiropractors. So parents today are desperately looking for better approaches and solutions. And chiropractor, you can't be the best kept secret in the world. You got to get the training and the confidence. And that's why we do programs like Genesis PedCon, where you can come and get a full immersion in all the best chiropractic technique and science and practice development and philosophy, so you can go back and be ready. You can go to chiropediatrics.net to see. Students are coming October 3rd to the 5th from all over to be part of this with hundreds of other doctors. We have the best of the best that will be there. We don't want to be the best kept secret in the world. That's why we created 25 years ago Kids Day America International, where it's the biggest event in the world for chiropractors helping kids, and where chiropractors historically tried to get their foot in the door or be one vendor or table at a screening at a big event and have to, pay for that. And, you don't have to be a second-class citizen. We created a platform that people come to you and they thank you for what you do. You get the credibility and the respect, so you don't have to try to, be out there and have that stigma where the community sees what you're doing out there. It's just another chiropractor trying to build their business. And we love on-purpose chiropractors that are going out there and doing it anyway. But you don't have to. You can put yourself in a leadership role. Your town can become a sanctioned site for Kids Day, be linked up to the worldwide event. Have the mayor and governor of your state and your city proclaim it an official day for chiropractors helping kids. Have the schools, the police, and the firemen all help you. That seems like, well, how do I do all that? We've been doing it for 25 years. We've had 2,000 chiropractors screen over 5 million kids for subluxation. And right now, we're just gearing up now. If you're going to be in practice, within the next year, you could become a sanctioned site and start off with 50 or 100 new families being launched to the forefront of your town. And we have the whole implementation package, step by step. Just add water. Everything's done for you. Just follow the plan and you can create this. And you can go to kidsdayinternational.net and see the videos and all the case studies and see the impact this is having worldwide. Because, chiropractors want to win the war in chiropractic. We want to increase utilization rates. We want the respect and the credibility. Well, when you go to kidsdayinternational.net, you watch the videos, you watch the TV appearances and what everybody has accomplished. You see it's already here. It's been here. All you have to do is, come on board and want that. And you'll help so many families and so many children that would never know what you do any other way.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Terry, I want to get to you in a second, but I want to go back to a couple things that Dr. Stu just said because it really resonated with me and I think it'll really resonate with chiropractic students and the whole entire profession of chiropractic. And that is when you're sitting down with a patient, to go to the beginning of your conversation, when you're sitting down with a patient and talking finances, it's really important to be certain and clear on what you know, right? Like you have to know what you know and understand the value behind the chiropractic adjustment, right? No matter if it's for an adult, no matter if it's for an elder, no matter if it's for a kid, does not matter. You have to know the value of the chiropractic adjustment. And a lot of times you didn't say this directly, but I think that you would agree with me on this. It's a lack of commitment or prioritization that oftentimes drives people to say, I can't make it in that often, or I can't commit to this, or I can't do this. It's not necessarily the fees or the time, it's the prioritization and the commitment, because it's like, we have to classify chiropractic care sometimes as like, yeah, this should be included as a preventative measure in your health budget every single year for the rest of your life. Like this should be an electric bill, this should be a gas bill, this should be the same exact kind of thing, and you should be committed to chiropractic care. And so I think a lot of times that's what it falls down to, is a prioritization issue or a commitment issue. And then the next thing is chiropractors giving away adjustments for free for children. And yeah, it is a huge issue in my opinion, because especially wanting to go into the pediatric chiropractic route. And I personally believe that it devalues the adjustment. So are you saying that, the adjustment for the child is worth less than it is for the mom or dad, right? Like that to me is a total disconnect that we have in the profession, that people are giving away adjustments for free for children. And so I don't think any of us in the chiropractic world want to devalue the adjustment. And nor should we have to, and there's no reason to. And then you have to figure out a way to calculate your value, right? No matter if that's some third-party person coming into your office, calculating your numbers, calculating your time, calculating everything and breaking it down for you, or if that's you doing that yourself and figuring that out. You have to look at every aspect of your office and really understand where your time is most spent, right? And how much that adjustment to that person is worth at that time. Because a lot of chiropractors have especially as a student, right? Like I have no good place to go and find that information out, right? Like everybody's going to give me a different number. Your adjustment's worth $50. Your adjustment's worth $21. Your whole exam is worth $21. And then after that, it's worth $500. It's like, wait a second, hold on. There is a plethora of opinions out there, but you really you need to sit down and calculate what your adjustment is worth, how much your volume is, how many people you're seeing. And I feel like that's a complete, total different conversation when it comes to chiropractic in general, is calculating that value of the adjustment, because there are so many people who see maybe 4 patients a day and are spending 2 hours with every patient, right? And it's like, that's a complete different model than the 100 patient a day office. Like, that is not, that there's got to be a difference, and you have to be reciprocated for your adjustment, for the value that you are providing that patient. And then the last thing was, Doc, I want to mention this because you mentioned it kind of in passing. You were like, that kid, misses school, can't play with his friends or his or her friends, can't go outside, all that stuff, right? Like, that was me. The reason I'm in chiropractic school is because I couldn't do those things. So it's like when I was, 12, 13 years old, my life was completely turned around by chiropractic care. I was able to go outside, play with other kids, enjoy the grass again, right? Like, things like that you don't actually think about, but it impacts that child so much more than we could ever imagine. And it impacts that family so much more, because now the parent doesn't have to stay home with the kid, right? And then the parents' wages aren't being cut and losing jobs and all of that. It's a trickle-down effect. And so I want to talk about, just mention briefly, activities of daily living. We oftentimes refer to, elderly patients. And it's like, oh, we gave them their range of motion back, or they're able to, comb their hair or blow dry their hair. But, kids is the same. Their activities of daily living are different. Yes, maybe they're not, pulling up their pants and tying their shoes and putting their belts on, but at the same time, they're able to run outside. They're able to breathe the air. They're able to play. They're able to eat whatever they want. They're able to enjoy their life to the fullest extent. And I don't think that's talked enough about in chiropractic. And I'm glad you mentioned it in passing, because I really wanted to touch on that. So I'm really glad. Dr. Terry, talk to us about the successful pediatric office, and also let's get into, Dr. Stu mentioned some statistics, but talk to us about the state of health for kids today, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Okay. So I would have to say that, just to piggyback on what you just said, that's the idea of freedom and giving that freedom to a family. And you're absolutely right. When a kid can go and walk in the grass and ground themselves, that's a big day. So you're giving all those things back to a family. So, but I have to say also, as a mother, that in jest, but there's truth that the day your kid can dress themselves and comb their own hair, that's a good day too.
Right. Yep.
May not be a chiropractic miracle, but that's a mom miracle. So the getting into the stats and looking at the state of children's health today, Stu went through so much so fast, and really, I felt like, oh my gosh, I wish we could rewind and hear that 3 times, because you really have to let it sink in that kids today are just unbelievably sick. And something that we'll often use an analogy in the healthcare classes is talking about the frog into the boiling water. You know that when you drop a frog into a pot of boiling water, if you went to drop them in, you'd feel the heat, boom, they want to jump out. But if you put them in when you've got lukewarm water and slowly turn the dial and it warms up, they'll just simmer in there. That's what's happening to people today. They don't know that their kids should be healthy, that the natural state of a child should, and an adult, of anybody, should be health. God didn't create us to be sick all the time. There's a pharmacy within. Our chemical systems are screwed up because our nervous systems are screwed up, and there are reasons behind that. That's what we can identify and help correct as chiropractors, and to educate them about and empower them about. But the state of kids' health is so devastatingly bad that sick kids then grow up to be what? Sick adults. And so we're creating a sick society. Now, who does this, if you're a pharmaceutical company, I think that would behoove you, because financially, they're gonna, from day one, be injecting them with poisons and continue that for a lifetime. And so you're creating sick children and a lifetime patient. If you want to create a lifetime patient, that's the way to do it. We know, however, that that doesn't have to be so. We don't have to have over 50% of kids with a chronic illness. But patients today, the general public doesn't know it because they just simmered in the water. They think that this is the state of health. They think that all kids come out and they're colicky. They think it's normal and natural to have ear infections as a kid, to have recurrent fevers and sickness, and for most kids to have allergies. That's not normal. And so we really need to kind of, I wish we could shake people up. And in a sense, we need to say, wake up, like you're in a trance. This isn't reality. It's like an alternate reality. But they think that it is because it's become normal. That's when Stu said, this is the new black, it's the new normal. It is like the new normal for people. They think because they've been in it so long, but that isn't. So we can get out into our communities and be able to change that and to influence it. And that'll start right in your office. So you have a great opportunity to be able to show parents. And as soon as you have changed the lives of one child, using those testimonials and empowering them to empower others, you will grow your practice from the inside out. And then using resources like a podcast or like a website or webinars and different things that you can communicate on a broader scale, we can then influence your entire community. We can influence the state, the nation, the world, to wake them up and show them that this isn't right. But listen, there is freedom out there. You can have this, and this is how. And BJ used to talk about the KISS principle, right? Keep it simple, stupid. You need to it's so easy. Chiropractic and our principles, our philosophy are never changing. What was fundamentally right 100 years ago is right today and will be right 100 years from now. These are principles that don't change because it's what we own and what we know to be true. Mm-hmm. So this is what we need to show parents, and once you do, that'll grow and spread and create the practice that you're looking for. I would really encourage you. Stu mentioned earlier, one of the things you could do is read the green books. We grew up in chiropractic college in kind of a chiropractic bubble. We grew up at Life in the golden age with Dr. Sid and Dr. Nell and Dee Dee Umber and Beth and like all these people and all these legends coming in to see us all the time. And it was really amazing. I mean, we have that opportunity today too. The names may have changed, but we still have these amazing icons that you can come to see. Mm-hmm. Come to this, you'll see a bunch of them here. But you have the opportunity no matter where you are. So different schools may offer you different opportunities. I feel honored that we had that opportunity. We went to Sherman, to Lyceum. We went to DE at Life. We were able to learn that. Not every school is that way. In fact, some schools are almost teaching chiropractic philosophy and BJ and DD and the Green Books like they're folklore or legends. I don't think people understand that, no, this is our history. And that is truth. And that is what it's all built upon. That would be like, taking the Bible and saying, oh, aren't these fun stories? No, this is, so if you want to ground yourself, find the resources for that. Seek them out. You are doing an amazing job, and you are doing, John, sharing these things and being able to have docs on to share these experiences. Not all students are created, not all schools are created equally, right? So, yep. But now you all have the opportunity to come on and listen and hear from docs to be able to have that kind of experience. And so as much as you can, and some of you won't have as easy of a time in finding it, but search down and take road trips, go out, experience, get in touch with kids from other chiropractic colleges if you need to. Become a member of the ICA and get involved in that. Get involved in groups and organizations that represent what you want to do when you're a chiropractor and out in practice. And that's how you're going to be able to grow that. But our history is rich and amazing, and the principle is true and real. And I think that, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to chiropractic if you're not learning about that and having that experience. So pulling out those green books and making sure that you're actually trying to learn from them. It's pretty amazing. So you have that. We had many docs for many years that went to jail for the principal, went to jail for chiropractic. Do you own the principal like that?
Right.
Would you go to jail for chiropractic? Once you do, once you own that, you have nothing else to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Couple points that I want to touch up on is the fact that you said our internal chemicals are messed up because our nervous system is messed up. That is so profound. Like, it is so true, because we know for a fact, Grey's Anatomy textbook says it, the nervous system controls every single cell, tissue, organ, and organ system in the body. Therefore, it controls everything. So it's like if something inside the body is messed up, it's because of the nervous system has interference. And we have to be able to portray that to the public, communicate that to our communities in order to help all of these sick children and sick parents. And then the last thing I want to mention was you both said it. You both said you have to show up, and you both said you have to be a part of the solution. You have to show up big, though. Like, you can't just show up. You can't just be there and be a fly on the wall. No, you have to be involved in things, and you have to be an activist for chiropractic. This is not, like you said, you have to own the green books. You have to own the philosophy. And once you do that, you can stand on firm ground and say, I am a chiropractor. I am a pediatric chiropractor, or, any type of whatever you're practicing, whatever chiropractic practice you're practicing. But you have to show up big in order to be part of the solution. The solution, it doesn't just come with, mediocre people like Dr. Stu mentioned before. Like, you can't just be mediocre and be a part of the solution. No, you have to be above and beyond in order to be part of the solution. And so I wanted to mention that real quick. And last but not least, guys, please, I have the links below. I've put them on there since Dr. Stu started talking about it. So head to chiropediatrics.net. And the dates for their Growth Con, the Pediatric Growth Con, is October 3rd through the 5th. And it's a pediatric conference where you're going to get 21 credit out continuing education hours for docs. And then students, you'll just get to be hanging around the coolest of cool people of, chiropractic legends. And I'll let them talk a little bit about who's going to be there, some of their top keynote speakers. And then you can also head to, I know Dr. Stu mentioned it earlier, but kidsdayinternational.net. And that's also their program, as well as chiropracticmediaambassadors.net. So all of those links, head to those. They're down on the bottom of the screen right now. And I'll let you guys talk a little bit about your chiropediatrics practice, or your chiropediatric conference, rather, and give us a little bit more about who's going to be there, who's going to be talking, and what people can experience. And then we'll officially be closing out the show here.
Yeah, last year we did the conference, and 20% of the room purchased their tickets for this upcoming year without knowing the date or city a year in advance. That's how much they were inspired and liked the program last time. Even the speakers, who are the top speakers and chiropractors in the world that usually fly into programs and leave, they hang out here because the networking is tremendous. They want to learn from the other speakers because it's all state of the art. We have the number one brain, nervous system, science chiropractor in the entire world that would be there, Dr. Ted Carrick. He has the largest functional neurology following in the world. He has a brain center. He has affiliations with Harvard and Cambridge. He's the most brilliant person we have in our profession, and he will be sharing the state-of-the-art science and getting better results and better outcomes with neurosensory developmental disorders in kids. So you don't want to miss that. You won't see this anywhere else. We have the most published chiropractor in the world, Dr. Deed Harrison, that's going to come and give the best science for the brain and the spine and the nervous system and subluxation as well, and how to correct the subluxations using chiropractic biophysics. He'll share with you fascinating research and studies and show it to you on the screen, such as, people are fascinated to learn, and he'll show you how the lordotic curve develops in utero in an infant, where most people think it doesn't develop till you get out. So that's, an interesting tidbit. You want to learn upper cervical for kids. We have Dr. Lacey Book that's coming. We have the top pediatric cranial adjuster and SOT chiropractor, and Dr. Marty Rosen that will be there teaching. We have Dr. Bobby Dosher that will be talking about challenged children. And Dr. Jenna Davis, if you want to learn about care of the pregnant patient and the Webster technique. So, you want to improve your clinical skills and your adjusting, and your understanding the science to get the confidence. Because there's a lot of chiropractors like to be able to communicate the science. So, you don't have to be behind the scenes, behind the times. You want to be here and get it. We also have the largest practices in the world that will be there, seeing 1,000 to 2,000 people a week. So who better to learn the philosophy from and marketing and patient education and communication than by the largest practices in the world? You may not want to see 1,000 a week, but what better way to go from 0 out of school to 100 or 300 to 500 than by listening to them? What we're doing at this conference is compressing, 25, 35 years of knowledge and experience and success into a weekend where you can come absorb it all and go back to your practice the next day or go back to your student practice, and you'll be a different doctor. You'll be vibrating and resonating at a whole different level. People will be attracted to you. This is a conference you could bring your teams to come and train. Students, are coming from 3 or 4 different chiropractic colleges. It's really phenomenal. Kids will be there for the Chiro Kids Club and play with other unsubluxated kids and learn success principles and make lifelong friends. And they're just not there to play and do crafts. We're going to have speakers that are there, come in and share with them as well and inspire them. Like our kids, because we speak at 30 programs a year around the world, they hear us on the phone or, listen to a video, and our kids are like, oh, is that Dr. Fab or is that Dr. Billy D? They know them. They see him several times a year. They're friends with them. So, your kids can come and meet the speakers and many times your own kids don't want to listen to you as mom and dad. So, they'll listen to the other speakers so you can really get a good immersion in them. We have a women's chiropractic panel that's phenomenal, powerful women. We got a VIP package. Dr. George Curry will be there, the past president of the ICA. Fab Mancini, past president of Parker, will be there. We have the best, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's the #1 attorney in the world right now that's taking down the pharmaceutical industries and showing the lack of science and the corruption and the lies in the pharmaceutical industries and the vaccine issues are paramount today. We're losing our freedom. So, he will be there to talk to us about the science and about, how we protect our kids. So you'll be able to, really get it state of the art. And, when he shows the lies and the corruption in the pharmaceutical industry, that gives us as chiropractors the opportunity now, when you shake the legs of the medical system, to get our principles and philosophy out there on a bigger level, and people will wake up and be able to hear that. So, there's so much. You go to chiropediatrics.net, you'll get the full details of the program. As you mentioned, there's 21 CE hours available. But, really it's about, we spend so much time on the internet and on Facebook. Come and be with people, shake hands, break bread. And, it's really, where most people learn a lot of the best stuff is in the hallways and in between the speakers and at nighttime. So, just come and be part of it all.
I love it.
And I have to say that, we love it, but are all of these speakers who are just at the top of their game love talking to students. So if you're a student out there listening, get here. And there is no better place to tap into the greatest minds in chiropractic. Mm-hmm. So put it on your schedule. Don't miss it. We basically make it free for students. We just want you there. We want to create a future of empowered chiropractors out there, an army. And so we can't do this forever. We want you guys to be able to take the reins and take over. So get here, learn and grow. And that's what we do. And then, come out and turn on your community to all things chiropractic.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So you heard it here first, chiropediatrics.net. Head there now to get your tickets. And like Dr. Terry said, student rates are practically free. The dates are October 3rd through the 5th. And you heard all of those incredible names. Top two for me would be Dr. Ted Carrick, which is amazing. And obviously Robert F. Kennedy Jr., which is absolutely phenomenal. I saw him speak at CalJam, and he was out of this world. So yes, I mean, I'm so pumped for you guys. I'm so excited for this event. If you have any questions, you can either reach out to me, you can reach out to Dr. Stu and Dr. Terry. I'm sure they will be able to answer any questions that you have. And thank you both so much for being on the show. We had some technical difficulties last week, or rather a couple days ago, and so we got around it, and we're here now. So thank you so much for being on the show. Everyone that's been watching and has watched or is watching on replay, please head to thelegendarychiropractor.com to check out everything chiropractic that we have to offer. Doctors are able to post associate positions that they have available in their office, and students are able to view those, as well as find our 100% free mentoring and coaching group that is peer-to-peer, as well as personal and professional growth. So with that being said, thank you so much for being on the Chiropractic Compass podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reuter. Guests today were Dr. Stu and Dr. Theresa Warner out in New Jersey, and they are absolutely crushing it. So if you enjoyed this, please share it, like it, love it. Do everything you can to spread the good word. Thank you guys so much for being on. Have a great, great rest of your weekend.
Our pleasure.
Thanks so much.